Yeti. Oh man, it's one of the coldest microphones I've seen. It's bulky, but as far as podcasts, well, you can't beat it. Yeah. It picks up. It can hear that when you got it set for that setting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we live YouTube. Okay.
Ypsilanti and all surrounding areas. It's time for the John E. Lawrence Summer Jazz Concert Series beginning July 1st.
You can't see it's what I actually got it.
It's spring, it's all summer, and it's all of the best jazz performances on one stage featuring Jeff Lorber Fusion. Join WJZD Radio at the John E. Lawrence Summer Jazz Concert Series every Friday, July 1st through September 2nd. On July 1st, it's the hot, smooth jazz sounds of Randy Scott. On July 8th, he's so cool, he's hot. It's Lynn Roundtree. July 15th, we welcome Paula Atherton. You don't want to miss July 22nd when John E. Lawrence takes the stage. On July 29th, it's the sexy sounds of Gerald Beebe. And in August, ladies, we brought Yancy on August 5th. On August 12th, we welcome pianist Alvin Wowers. Later in August, on the 19th, it's Demetrius Neighbors. On August 26th, we welcome the sounds of styles with Dr. Jesse Morris. And on September 2nd, it's Grammy Award-winning keyboardist, producer, and composer Jim Lorber. The John E. Lawrence Summer Jazz Concert Series at Fort Lake Park, 9075 South River Drive in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Starting July 1st through September 2nd. It's all of the best jazz, it's all summer, and it's all free. From John E. Lawrence and WJZD Radio Detroit.
Eric out there. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Ear to the Ground 197. We got a special Sunday edition in here. I got my main man up in here, Mr. Ryan Griffin. Professor Griff is what he's known as, and he lives up to that name. And Griff called me up and he said, he texted me, he said, man, I need to put me in. Put me on, put me in. I got something to share. I got something to say, put me in. And of course, when Griff called me up, that's what we're going to do. So I don't know what we're going to talk about. I don't know what it is, but I know it's something that needs to be said is important. So we want to welcome everybody on this Sunday morning edition. We asked everybody this morning, if you would you type into the comment box, why one? Why one? Because I believe in Ypsilanti first. Also, we'd like for you to share and like this. Hit why one, type in the comment box, why one, then like and then share. So like I said, I got my main man up here, Professor Griffin up in here. If you notice up on the screen right there, I have, let me see if I can zoom that in, just a ski taste right there. I got my main man up there, Johnny Lawrence Summer Jazz Concert Series, where this year we'll be at Fort Lake Park in Riverside. Fort Lake Park is where we're going to be at with the concert series. We were in Riverside Park. Let me slow down a bit. And then if you notice right there on there, you see that right there, I have featuring the single Leather Jacket. That's Johnny's newest single, and that's him in a collaboration with Jeff Lorber. We're gonna get into that a little bit later on, but in the meantime, I got my man Griff up in here this morning, and Griff, you know what? Before we get in that a little bit, at the beginning, I had a screen that was showing Rick Starr Financial.
Yeah.
And the reason why I put Rick Star Financial up in there, Richard Griffin, your older brother, he is the #1 sponsor of the John E. Lawrence Jazz Concert Series. Now, I know how much money the brother put up. Thousands. I'm gonna just put that right there. Thousands. Just in case y'all hear me. Thousands is what Brother Rick put. He stepped up to the bat and he financing that, sponsoring everything. So I want to give a shout out to Richard Griffin, Rick Star Financial. That's big, man. Because I know the numbers. I ain't gonna put it out there. You get what I'm saying? That's between him and Johnny to put the numbers up there. But the brother put thousands up in there. Anyway, Griff, what's going on, man? What's happening this morning? Breaking in. Yeah.
Oh, nothing much, man. You know how it is, man. I just appreciate, coming on the show, and you and I do it, man. We don't do the script thing.
Right.
We chop it up. We come and we talk about what's important to Ypsilanti. We don't try to impose our ideologies upon anybody else. It's just about sharing information and do what you want with it after that.
Right.
So no, man, just staying busy. Lots been going on. When I hit you up at a time, I was frustrated,
Okay.
At the time when you called me out. So I mellowed out a little bit,
Okay.
but so sometimes, man. Then I think it was at the time, it was right around like when we were celebrating the life of Malcolm X.
Okay.
And I think I was just going through something where it's like, man, is this cliche? Is this just something that we just say and do? Or do we truly celebrate the life by demonstrating and living our lives and making certain changes and approaching things the way Malcolm would either do it himself, or if we say we love, honor, and respect the brother, we began to do things maybe differently than we did before. And so I just seen a lot of things from a lot of people that it's like almost don't say I celebrate Malcolm,
right?
I celebrate Martin or whomever, but we're still making the same decisions, or we're still doing the same things, or approaching things the same way. You can't say that I Malcolm's my guy, but you're still a political chump. You can't say Malcolm's my guy and we're still responding emotionally, because Malcolm said that far too often the so-called Negro responds emotionally, not scientifically.
Right.
So, and then I received a phone call. We could chop it up about that later, about a situation that you and I talked about prior to as well, concerning local politics. And so there was just a lot of things, man, that was going on at the time, man, to where it was like, now's not the time to mess with me.
That's right. You was on one.
I was on
like
one.
that post you said to me. I was on one after that shooting in Buffalo.
Yeah,
I was on one, right?
Yeah, no doubt. So, but so just man, just chopping it up, man. So
one of the things is when I think about the life of Brother Malcolm X, he left some disciples around here. A lot of people don't know about that. Brother James Smalls, Professor James Smalls. I was just listening to him this morning. I quoted a comment that I was listening to him the other day, and he was a direct disciple of Malcolm. You know what I mean? He was a kid, teenager when Malcolm was running around, but the teaching is still there. And one of the things that he said, if you don't know your history, you out of your mind, because your mind, the mind that you have someone else's mind in you, and we cannot solve our problem with someone else's mind. And so when you was talking about Malcolm, I'm always, like you said, people love to quote Malcolm. They even get to the point where they want to emulate his style of speech, his rhetoric. But there's one thing that they forget about Malcolm is when he made his transition, when he went to Mecca and made his Hajj, and what he experienced in there. He had a truly spiritual revolution. And he began to realize that in Mecca, that some people who were racially classified as white were filled with peace. And he began to see that some of the teachings that he had received was that white people weren't the physical proverbial devil. and he began to experience that up underneath Islam. And so when he came back and formed the Organization African American Unity, and he went into begin to realize that we as people, we suffer all over the globe, you know, and we suffer all over the globe, right? And we're first frequency people. And he began to unify us and stuff like that. And we began to understand is that we had to work together and come together. And he was speaking peace. He was speaking peace as opposed to violence. And that's the part of Malcolm that people miss. And it's the same part of Martin. Martin was talking about at the time holding hands and marching and stuff like that. But after 67, they didn't realize that transition too. So I get what you're saying when we're talking about Brother Malcolm. Are we just quoting it? Or are we actually having that spiritual evolution that he experienced it and begin to live the talk, walk the walk, instead of just making quotes and memes and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, and I found a lot of the arguments was, and people got to understand also, is another thing that made Malcolm so easily acceptable to our people was that we have this thing that we never really talk about in the Black community, but we go through it, and it's capitalism versus
Marxism, communism,
socialism.
Socialism. Okay, right.
And we have to understand that, of course, capitalism means that you can put yourself in a position or a situation where we can do for self. We can do, take care of our own. We can, all those types of things. But the condition of the so-called Negro, the condition of us, or people who are racially classified as Black, is everything. We need to be able to use everything to advance our situation,
right.
Whatever it is. And so I began to understand a lot of people were like, we need to be capitalists. We need to have a capitalist mentality. But Malcolm never left any of his people behind.
Correct.
And that also created a rift, and it's like, no, it doesn't need to just be about capitalism because we have some folks that's flat out left behind. So socialism, social programs, depending upon the government and whom put us in a situation in the first place, some of us have to go that route as well. But if we only have this one track mind to where, it has to be, a capitalistic mentality, of course, that's where power comes from.
Right.
We're all not going to be in that situation.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I want to say good morning to Erica Vanier. Good morning, sister. I have not forgotten about you. I'm trying to get her on the show. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to hook up. Good morning to Brother Marshall Avril. And good morning to Eric Brown. Well, let me break up a little bit. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me say I came in here, it was morning and the clock switched on and stuff like that. So I want to say good morning to everybody. I had a brother on here yesterday, very intelligent, informed, younger brother. His name is Marshall Avril. And Marshall was running for state representative in the 32nd district. And brother was sharp, man. You get what I mean? And I say that is because you said that we have to use all the tools in our toolbox. One of the things that Malcolm said is that right now, today, we have the political power to transform our community. And it's going to take some time for us to get the capital power. It's going to take some time for us to get the money because we don't run anything. We don't have anything. Dr. John Henry Clark said, a man who does not manufacture, don't make his own draws, ain't fit to run society. And right now we possess the same amount of wealth power as we did leaving when we were enslaved people. And that's less than 1/2 of 1% of all the economic power in America. 1/2 of 1%. So our needle from the time we were free from physical bondage, the needle hasn't moved one iota. Morning, sister. Good afternoon, Sister Peggy Smith. How you doing this morning? Yeah, I got to remember that because I started, it was morning when I left out, and now it's afternoon, right? The clock said. But anyway, we haven't gone anywhere. We're like the proverbial children of Israel. We've been just walking around in a circle, man. Walking around in a circle. They wandered in the desert 40 years, man. And from what I understand, it was just around the corner where freedom was. So when you talk about Malcolm, man, utilizing all his tools, right? We got the political power, but, and I know you see us talking about local politics and stuff like that. We do have the political power. We have the people in place. You get what I mean? We got people in place, man. We got a black lieutenant governor, right? We got a black state representative. We got 3 black county commissioners. We got a black sheriff. We got a black quote unquote deputy sheriff. We got a black school board president. We got a black school board superintendent. We got at least 3 or 4 black representatives on the Ypsilanti Community School Board. We got a black superintendent out in Ann Arbor Public Schools. I don't know what his title is, president or something like that. You get what I mean? We got a black fire chief here in the city of Ypsilanti. We got a black fire marshal in the city of Ypsilanti. We got a black fire chief in Ypsilanti Township. We got 3 black council persons in the city of Ypsilanti. We have a black mayor. We got a black city manager. But look at where we at right now, man. You get what I'm saying? And that's what Malcolm was talking about. We got the political power. But you said it when we first started out, man. We are political chumps. And what he said is that there's no difference between the Republican and the Democratic Party. He said one is a fox, the other says a wolf. They both canines. But we continually being tricked by the foxy white liberal. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we're at right now. We haven't moved. Not saying that the Republican wolf is any better, but we know what he stands for. We know where he's at. You get what I mean? You know that when you pat that wolf on the head, he's gonna bite your ass. But some kind of way, man, we always want to be warm and fuzzied up with that fox.
And well, you said the word.
Go ahead, brother.
You said the word. No, you said the word. You said the word content. And content that's what it is, being content. Because I don't know where I read it, but I know someone else's quote, that spoke about, our future depends on how we treat ourselves, not how other people treat us.
Right.
And in everything that you said, everybody that you just listed, you ask yourself, why haven't the needle moved for us, even in our small town? And it's because I also read somewhere that said that you're going to suffer 2 types of pain. Either pain of discipline or pain of regret. Okay. You're going to suffer 2 types of pain.
Okay.
Either pain of being disciplined or pain of regret. And if we are not like our leaders, like Brother Malcolm and whomever else, and we're not disciplined, then we're going to suffer a pain of being regretful to have so much black power and representation within our city. All we're going to do is look back and regret it. So if we refuse to be disciplined in what we can get done and can't get accomplished, we're going to end up regretting it. So we have to make that choice of the pain that we're going to suffer of being disciplined or a pain of regret. So.
Yeah, one of the premises in one of the 12-step programs that says this right here: either suffer the pains of withdrawal or go back to using. Either suffer the pains of withdrawal, and what that is alluded to is talking about withdrawing from substances, right? And that's one of the 12-step programs. And a lot of people don't want to suffer the pains of not using mood-changing and mind-altering substances, so they go back to the comfort of using because they don't want to pull away. And that's where we're at right now. Like you said, we don't want to suffer. We don't want to suffer the pains. And then we're going to suffer the pains of regret, because we know eventually you continue to use those substances and the drugs. We know what's going to happen at the end of it. And it has not changed. You know what I'm saying? The end is always the same. It changed. You get what I'm saying? And we always say jails, institutions, and death. You get what I mean? So at some point, man, we got to be able to suffer the pains of moving forward, So how do we do this? And let me say this: in a society, right? And we can argue and debate with people and say whether the United States is a country or a corporation. I'm not going to get into that argument. Get what I'm saying? Because when you look at what we are, this is a country, okay? and the power that they have and the powers that be, right, rule this. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not going to get into whether it's a corporation, whatever. But in this ideological society, this country that we call America, the United States of America, right? It is a caste society, period. And it is divided up in classes, white and black, and then everything else is a subsection of black. You get what I mean? And there is no gray area. When we talk to people about classified, well, I always use the term, I try to use it, racially classified as white, because there is no white person. White is a thought process. You get what I mean? It's a social construct. And you remember in our movie, in the Mac, right? And you remember Richard Pryor said what he said, you white nickel. You know what I mean? So we got white, black folks, because white is a thought process. It's not a skin tone. But the complexions of people who lack melanin have classified themselves as tier 1 people and God's chosen people. We can get into that too. You know, the table's open. You get what I'm saying? We can get into how they say is that they are the base people, that they were the first created, when in fact anthropology, any second grade anthropological student would tell you that you can't get black from white. You can only get white from black. But anyway, they flip-flopped it on and stuff like that. And they use that complexion of skin to rule. Evil can harbor any skin color. You get what I mean? Any complexion. And that's why we got some black folks with white minds. And that's why we haven't moved the needle, because some of our most intelligent, let me just say that. Yeah, intelligent, I'll give them that. Intelligent and most educated people who went to school have simply co-opted into that system, that educational system, where we sent them to school to be educated to free us from physical bondage of slavery. They simply co-opted themselves in there and co-opted for what? The dollar bill. And those were the folks that Richard Pryor called them white niggas. You get what I mean?
Well, as James Baldwin said, I believe it was quoted, I may misquote him a little, but he said something in a form of, you know, my progress in America is measured by how fast I become white. So, and that's the whole, you know, understanding of what makes me progressive, what makes me successful, how do I get there? So it becomes a, you know, when you start understanding that construct of social, social identity and given, you know, identity and social stereotype and this, that, and the other, and that gets into, you know, Du Bois and the veil, you know, of double consciousness. Yeah, so it's we can have that discussion another day. That's gonna take us way over there. But that's what it speaks to. It's like we have to, and it all comes back to when you say how do we make it happen? Flat out, we just have to be unapologetically black. Right. That's what we have to do. Okay. Like we can sugarcoat it. We can come up with all types of fancy words, theories, ideologies, and what have you. But if we don't just become flat out unapologetically black in everything that we do, that's not anything else. That is just making sure that we are taking care of ourselves physically, mentally, and mentally also means when I see you walking down the street, what's happening, my brother? Right. Are you okay? Right. You know, and sometimes some of us need to say, no, I'm not okay. Right. You know, but we need to start taking better care of each other, you know, in every aspect of that. And that's one thing that we're just not disciplined in doing. You know, it's not hard to change somebody's day by having that conversation or by, you know what, today I am going to say just what's up to as many brothers as possible, because that's just what we need. And who knows where it's going to spread to, or who knows how it's going to work, but we have to become unapologetically black in the things that we do if we want things to work out for us and in our favor. If we don't, we're going to continue to be content and just accept what's ever given to us, period. I mean, it's no other way to say it or get to it. If we don't be more disciplined in what we need and what we have to make happen. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and this brother told me, he said, don't have a plan B. Right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He said, don't have a plan B. He said, because when you have a plan B, now you are leaving that room for if this don't happen, if it don't work. We have to stop having a plan B when it comes to us. Yes. You know. Yeah. So. Yeah. Brother Brown, he going crazy in the chat box.
I see you got there. Maybe you could address some of this. Now,
I can ask you a question.
go ahead, bro.
Are you gonna get in trouble for not talking about your sponsors?
I probably would. But this is special edition.
Okay.
I'm gonna do something else, right? But anyway, Ear to the Ground 197 is brought to you by Tracy Sweet Touch Production. We laid to rest, or we interned, or whatever the proper funeralized my good brother Jamie Davis yesterday. And he was a good brother. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Tracy Sweet Touch Production is owned by Tracy Davis. Uniquely created gifts for any occasion. You can find Tracy on YouTube, Passion Intrigue Arts, Instagram at Tracy Sweet Touch Production, TikTok at Estelle Fabulous, Pinterest, Miss Tracy E. Davis, and email her at DallasDoDakota@gmail.com. And then finally, you can find Tracy Davis on Facebook at Tracy E. Davis. I picked up a couple more sponsors, Griff. Kiana Alexandria, right? Her barbershop is located right across the street from the City Hall, Ypsilanti, on the corner of South Huron and Michigan Avenue. She didn't want to keep my beard together, so I didn't see her this week. I seen her, and she can always tell when I went to another barber. It's like I be cheating on her. You get what I mean? But she keep me together. Brought to you by Awesome House Wash. That's my good friend Andre Lewis. We call him Buzzy. He also a barber too. He set up in the shop. He the owner of the shop Cutting Up, where you can find Ish the barber in there. Ishmael Abdul Aziz. You know them good brothers. You being
North side, baby.
North side. That's where Ish from. Okay, right. And that's where you can find them. We're gonna get this together. I'm not gonna say you put me on the spot, but sometimes folks don't want to be identified with the conversation that we have. You get what I mean? And I'm just saying, but we're gonna elevate everybody's consciousness. And then finally, Ear to the Ground 197 is brought to you by Blackstone Bookstore and Cultural Center, located in beautiful downtown Ypsilanti, right across the street from the public library, owned by Kip and Athena Johnson, Carlos, and Andrea Franklin, my peoples. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get back. I'm gonna do, you know what I got on here, y'all? Since Griff brought that up. If y'all take a look over here, right by Griff, right, it says Leather Jacket, Johnny Lawrence. Johnny did a collaboration with Jeff Lorber, right? Now dig this here. The song, the official release date of this song, and it's cold, it's out-blooded. It's cold, out-blooded. Cold-blooded, out cold. Anyway, I got it right here, man. I got the exclusive Leather Jacket, right? Got it right here, man. I'm gonna play it for him a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But that's out cold. And that's Johnny Lawrence with Jeff Lorber. You see his name down there at the bottom. Jeff Lorber, people don't know, he's out cold, jazz keyboardist, multi-Grammy Award winner and everything. Got the #1 jazz, got 3 #1 jazz songs on the radio right now. Going on. I got the rest released right here. Right, you done threw me off, bro.
Oh, my bad.
You threw me off, man. But it's good because I'm still gonna go back and react. Now, dig this here. I'm gonna hit you with this thought process right here. You said we got to be unapologetically Black. There's been many amendments to the Constitution. One amendment was never done, and that is the quote unquote 3/5 clause compromise, or 3/5. We're considered 3/5 of counting as 3/5. You know what I mean? 3/5 of a human being. In the Constitution, the preamble says that they created this land for their future posterity, which didn't include us. That's never been amended. Okay. Now, when you use the term Black here in America, see, I explained it to a white guy the other day when we was talking. I said, it's only in America where an African, a Jamaican, someone from the land of Australia, New Zealand, South America, Brazil, it's only in America where an African is called Black. Okay? Nowhere else. You go to French, you see a brother who was born with melanated skin in France, he's considered a Frenchman because of his nationality. You go into Italy, where you find a brother who came from Tanzania, he's considered a Tanzanian. He's not considered Black. It's only in America when people who have melanated skin are called Black. And that's done for classification. So in Black, in America, in Black, we're considered second-class citizens. So as being racially classified Black, tier 2 people, unapologetically Black. So we want to be unapologetically consider ourselves as second-class citizens. No, throw that on you.
Yeah,
Go ahead, brother.
No.
Okay, well, get out of it.
Well, see, the thing is when
Okay.
I'm sorry,
I don't know what that's. I got something turned up too loud. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Well, the thing is that I think first of all, when we consider ourselves Black, it's easy to do, and it doesn't necessarily make it the right thing, but we have been institutionalized to say it.
Okay.
But, you know, that's what you do. You throw it out there, Black, and then we even did things to try to take some medicine with it and say we Black or we're Black Americans or we're Negro or we're African American. We're always trying to find an identity. So when we say Black, it's, you know, I'm not saying it to say that, you know, we are Black because Black is not a place either. It's just that's where I've been institutionalized to say to just use the word Black. More enough now say African American, you know, because that's what it is. But it's also done to make sure that we have a separation from Africa to even consider ourselves African or African American. And so it's very easy for us to do that. So no, of course I would not say let's consider ourselves Black so we can consider ourselves second-class citizens. Not at all. From now on, I'll say African American. I'll say African of African descent. But so no, it's never to say, you know. I mean, that was a good trick. You know, to say let's stay here.
Let's stay here, right?
That's not what we're saying at all. Just using that word or term Black. And again, it doesn't make it right. It's easy to say, simple to say. We've been, you know, instructed to use, you know, the word Black. Because we will say things like I'm Black and I'm proud. And of course, we're not saying I'm second-class citizen or I'm proud. It's an identity thing because that's something that we've been going through because we are the folks with who we do have a nation, which is Africa, continent. You know what I'm saying? So we do have a place. It's just that it's so easy for us to sit here, you know, because of the African diaspora. We can sit here, we can see a Chinese person or a Japanese person or an Arab person or what have you, or even a Mexican person, and we'll say that person can probably, it's easy for them to go back home, know who their people are, know where they come from, their region, they have that connection. But
they have a culture.
We don't. Yeah. I mean, we still have culture, but the separation of ours is just different. And we've gone through something different, but never to say that we're a second-class person ever. So
I would say that when we say African, we identify us to a landmass. I would say that when people ask me, they say, Bryan, what do you classify yourself? I say class myself as universal man. You say, what you mean universal man? Meaning that the entire globe, the entire earth is my home. Whether you go to North America, Central America, Mexico, like I said, North America, South America, Canada, Antarctica, Australia, Europe, Russia, Chinese, prior to the evolution of man, original man, universal man inhabit this entire landmass. The so-called Native Americans who came across from the Bering Straits, right, are Asiatic people. And when they arrived here in the land called America, we had already been here for millions of years. Case in point, take a look at the Olmec heads. Talk about the Folsom Indians, what they call them, stuff like that, right? We've been everywhere. We're always there, right? You go back into China's history, Russia's history. You see Black Chinese, even right now to this day, darker than you and I, right? Same way in Japan, right? You go down in anywhere you go, we are. You get what I'm saying? So when people say, who are you? Except when you put up these artificial geographical borders, states, if you will, nation states, right? Tanzania, just on Nigeria, right? Egypt, Ethiopia, right? Those land artificial nation states was created in 1896 at the Berlin Council, at the Berlin Conference, when European states had got together up underneath King Leopold and said, you take this, you take this, you take this, and the race was on. And that's how we got into the point of the name racism, because it actually is a race to take over the world, right? So when people ask me, like when you said, and I had to go back this to African America, right? The entire last landmass, right? We were always there. So I can't associate myself to one landmass called Africa. Because you and I both know, man, we got some brothers running around here, man. And if you didn't know any better, you would say the brother was, mom and daddy was Chinese. You know how we just say that with the slanted eyes and stuff like that? Because that is who we are. All things originate from us because we have been all places. And we still are everywhere. You get what I mean? We're everywhere. You can't find any place on this globe. You cannot find us.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. But the thing is we know our history here in America.
Right.
So therefore, when people try to find some type of identity and people want to say, well, this is who I want to identify with, even if they don't do the ancestry.com or whatever, and people want to identify with Africa, or I want to know if I came from Nigeria, or if I came from Benin, or if I came from, Senegal, whatever,
right,
you know what I'm saying? So when people say, because that's how I am, that's where I'm at, I would prefer to say I'm African American because I am of African descent. Which area of Africa? I don't know, most likely West Africa, but it does give you an identification of who you are. Are we global people? Absolutely. I mean, all you gotta do is go to Memphis or ask yourself, why does the Memphis Grizzlies used to play in a pyramid? You look at Memphis, then you go to Africa, you realize that's what Memphis is. So we understand that we are global people. I mean, when you understand maritime technology, and then when, the natives who was here talk with folks and they said we traded with these people with tips, spears tipped with gold. I got that from Ivan Versatil's book that came before Columbus. Right. So they talk about the Olmecs and in Mexico. So of course we're global, but because of what we lost in the transatlantic slave trade, we have to try to get back to our identity. That's why there's a pilgrimage. That's why folks go back, and try to, recapture
their roots,
their roots. Absolutely. So I actually, I hear what you're saying. We are global people, and we can say we're everywhere. So we don't have to relegate ourselves to saying we're African American. We can be, what do you say? I'm every man.
Universal man.
Universal man. Yeah. But in terms of self-identity, we have to have self-identity, or you will have a hole. There will be a, you feel like you miss something. It's like your father's not in your life. Like what is this part of me that I don't know, what I don't understand, and then you may go through a spiritual change, because we went through a spiritual change, because of the transatlantic slave trade. So there may be something different that you may experience, but like, okay, man, this is, so anyone that says I'm African American, I'm like, cool. I'm glad that you are, because remember there was a time where you from Africa, you're from Africa. It was an insult to say somebody was from Africa.
I'm old enough to recall when it was an insult. You get what I mean? Because I remember the Little Rascal show. There's a wild man from Borneo on there. Yum yum, eat him up. You get what I mean, and something like that. But I remember when it was a time, literally, and it was taught that Africans swung on trees and had bones in their nose and was boiling people in the pots and stuff like that, when it was actually Europeans who were cannibals. We can go all the way. I can go into history and prove you straight up and down that cannibalism exists in the European culture, even to this day. You get what I mean? So what have you. But I can remember that. And I tell people this all the time. My birth certificate says colored.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'm colored. On my birth certificate, I'm colored.
Colored.
Yeah. And on color, when I entered school, I became a Negro.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I became Black. Then I became an Afro-American. Then I became an African American. Now dig this here. Now they trying to group me into what? The persons of color. Yeah. See, them came full circle. And I tell folks when I'm in these groups, you get what I'm saying? All the persons of color, I'm not a person of color. Because what it is a Freudian flip-flop. It's an Orwellian thought when you say a person of color and a colored person. All you did was switch it around. But see, you're still not attaching me to an identity or to a culture. Now, when I tell people when I identify myself as Black, because I call myself Black, right? Lowercase or uppercase, right? You get what I mean? So when I say Black, what we're talking about, like the brother in the roots, Black thought. Is your thinking Black? Because everything originated from out of the triple darkness. You get what I mean? Everything right now, carbon is the base of life, which is Black. It's not white. So when we start really looking at things for what they are, you get what I'm saying? Everything originated from the Black. So there's nothing negative to be associated with Black. You get what I mean? And we know the trick. You get what I'm saying? When they call white cake, angel cake, and dark cake, you get what I mean? Everything had a negative connotation on it. But that's the slickness, if you will, of white supremacy, of racism, imperialism, colonialism.
It's the same indoctrination.
It's the same indoctrination. You get what I'm saying? So when I always ask people when they say unapologetically Black, like I said, brother, with this knowing right here and how we got labeled Black, expound on that. You get what I mean?
Well, let me say we need to be unapologetically African American or unapologetically universal.
No, I'm good with being unapologetically Black.
Unapologetically melanated.
Yeah, I'm good with saying unapologetically Black when we break it down and say what it is. We're talking about our thought, man. You get what I'm saying? From our pineal gland, which secretes what? Melanin, which is Black. You get what I mean? No doubt. Yeah, so it's waking up that third eye and becoming conscious of who you are. You know, let that melatonin, melanin seep throughout. You get what I'm saying? And that is that direct stream to Creator. We can get into all that, brother. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like I said, you had something on there, and we want to do that. But bro, you are an educator, and I mean that in the truest sense, because you're an educator, not a teacher. What a teacher does, and people, once again, I get in the debates with people. What a teacher does is instills things into people's minds. You get what I mean? I don't want to call it brainwashing, but it transforms their thought process and try to teach them to be, like you said, to identify and move up into that upper tier. Trying to teach Black kids how to be white and have white thought, capitalistic thoughts, as opposed to being, and I'm gonna say this straight on down, socialist thoughts, commune thoughts. Commune means simply that we have something in common and we share with each other. You get what I mean? But you're an educator, because I watch you, and what you do is you don't teach young Black boys or whoever you teach it, you educate them. And educating comes from that Latin term, educure, meaning to bring out. And this is why they gravitate toward you. I'll be watching, you get what I'm saying? And this is why they gravitate to you and they're able to hear you, because they can identify with you. You get what I'm saying? Because you're not trying to instill, you actually listen to them and you listen to them talk. You get what I'm saying? As opposed to trying to teach. And then once you bring out from them, actually the things that you're teaching them is already in them. You're just bringing them out. Feel what I'm saying? So being an educator, brother, I believe that the proverbial George Brenton says that I believe that the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. But how do we get our young brothers and sisters, cannot ever forget to include our sisters, how do we get them, you get what I'm saying, to understand who they are, that they're Black, right? Universal Black, and then to be able to traverse this white system and to come back and uplift our communities, our families, our homes, right? And because like I said, the needle hasn't moved since the day the chains, proverbial chains, were released on it. We still have less than 1%, a half of a percent of all the wealth in America. That's frightening, man.
But so, you, at the beginning of the show, you went through a list. Everybody in Ypsilanti who are political leaders or the city leaders or what have you. There has to be a connection with all of those people that you named as the leaders of the city with our babies. Because what has to happen is our babies have to understand that that's what they're supposed to be. If there's no connection with the babies and the power structure
Mm-hmm.
the babies will never think about being a part of the power structure.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So yeah, so that happens far too often. If your children, all they see is mom and dad go to work, mom and dad bosses white or non-melanated, then why would your children ever expect to be the boss or the owner?
Mm-hmm.
So what we have to do is we have to make a connection between the power of the city, the decision makers of the city, and our kids have to be a part of not the conversation, but a part of the understanding of this has to be the norm. What they say, normalize this, normalize that.
Right.
So we have to make a connection with these young brothers and sisters and make them understand that the mayor, this is how things work within this community, because that's how it was. If we say it takes a village to raise a child,
Right.
that's not the children's peers.
Mm-hmm.
That's the educators within that village. That's the healers within that village. That's the people that conduct business throughout the village. So if it takes a village to raise a child, then that means that child is getting certain things from different people in that village to be able to grow and then be one of the ones that help raise the next child. So within Ypsilanti, our babies have to have a relationship, have to know, have to see, not just sometimes feel things that happen, but they have to know that the people who are doing these things, there has to be a connection. Not saying I want to grow up to be a mayor, I want to grow up to be the fire chief, I want to grow up to be police chief. What they have to understand is there has to be a connection. Right. If you understand what I'm saying, between the babies and them. So that's how it's going to have to change. Right. That is how. And then the leaders who look like the babies have to say, I am you. Right. I am you. There's no distance between us, and that distance has to be created through relationship. You understand what I'm saying? That distance has to be, it just can't be, hey, that's the mayor over there. Hey, that's the sheriff over there. No, the sheriff has to say, I am you. You are me, and create that bond, however it has to be created through either experience or you come around a lot, but it just has to be a normalized understanding of us making the decisions of where we live and how we do it. You know, so it has to be a connection. So what I try to do is I try to talk to the young brothers about who they are. You know, and it's difficult for some of them to understand like who they are because they want to play PlayStation. You know, so we have to have our laughs. We have to joke a lot. But in those times that we have, it's who you are. And I don't try to give them too much, but I do try to teach them about social identity and who they are within their group, within their family, within their home, within their block. I don't try to, man, you got to be this, that, the other. Who are you at home? Who are you on your block? Right. And those are the things that we work on. You know, just very quick example. A project that I gave them. A project that I gave them. I said, listen, this summer, I'm going to need 2 or 3 of y'all to get your lawnmower 4 houses to the right, 4 houses to the left. Right. Okay. Cut those yards. And I said also across the street. Because now this is how you establish yourself as who you are in your neighborhood. You realize what you can do. You can make you some money. Now you are a dependable person. You're a reliable person. You're a small business person in your community. And that's how you're going to be seen. So it's just trying to make you understand who you are at home, your responsibility, who you are on your block. So those are some of the things that we just talked about, just trying to develop these brothers in the habit and identity of who they are. Yeah. But what if the teacher has no identity and is still functioning from out of white-minded values? And what I got in trouble for this, I didn't get in trouble. Let me just put it straight up there. I didn't get in trouble. Some people didn't understand because they don't know their history. And I said before, when you don't know your history, you are out of your mind and someone else's mind is in you. And so what we were talking about, I told somebody is that if you believe in whipping your child because you turned out all right, then you didn't turn out all right. If you believe that violence is the way of getting a child to
do what you want them to do. And that's basically what you're whipping the child for, because you want them to do what you want to do. And actually you're beating the spirit from out of them. You're beating the self-identity from out of that. You're beating actually the godness from out of them, and don't want them to explore, don't want them to learn, because you don't want them touching you don't want them touching this. You don't want them touching that. You're going to break this, you're going to break that, when it's a child's exploring. You get what I mean? And so you actually beat the spirit from out of them. So when we take our children to school early on and trying to instill European values in them, this is why our young Black women and young Black men rebel against that. Because innately, they know what you're trying to instill in me is unnatural, and that's a bunch of bullshit. And so in order to keep them in line, there's two things they do. They either beat them or they drug them, giving them Ritalin and those other ADHD forms, because they won't pay attention. You don't know what you're talking about, and the child know you on BS. You get what I'm saying? And because you lack the social skills and you lack the intelligence to be able to communicate with a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 15-year-old child. So the only way that you can communicate with somebody who disagrees with your values is to lay hands on them or to medicate it. So who is really the problem? You feel what I'm saying? A child comes in this world, I believe, all knowing. But because they're into a physical form as a spiritual being, it's up to an educator such as yourself who has the ability to bring that out of them, to bring bring the God out of the child, instead of trying to break his spirit to make him into a slave. Because it requires discipline. Requires discipline to work 8 hours at Ford Motor Company. It takes 8 hours. It takes discipline to work 12 hours at Phoenicia. It takes discipline to work double shifts at Chrysler, doing this for 16 hours. You feel what I'm saying? That takes a lot of doggone discipline to do the same thing, so that you can go ahead and buy you a car that you can drive home to drive back to work to do the same thing. And the reason why you got to drive home to drive to work is to pay for the car. And the reason why you got to go to the Chrysler is to pay for the car. So you're in this insane do loop. Okay. I ain't trying to get on y'all folks work, but I worked at a plant before. I was doing so that's capitalism. Get what I'm saying? Now you looking good in your Cadillac. I'm just gonna say, you look good in your Range Rover, but what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing? Looking good. You got gold, looking good. You're in Aruba. And I just came to thought, I ain't knocking nobody, because I know it's a good brother in Aruba, stuff like that. But I know what he's doing. But you in Cancun, you're on these cruises, you're doing everything, but at the end of the day, are you really sleeping peaceful? Is your conscience really still? No, it's still stirred, because you hoping. And when you wake up in the morning, that Wall Street Journal ain't said that the stock market failed. You hoping you ain't got that layoff slip. You hoping that another pandemic don't come around that prevents you from going to work, and you might lose that $350,000 house because you didn't have the ability to pay it. You get what I'm saying? And it all depends on that. And that's the American way. That's insanity, man. I'm just gonna say it. It's insanity, But our children, and we on the cusp of something right now. You get what I mean? I'm a firm believer, because we in America, we at the height of white privilege. And right now, that needle that I was talking about, this generation right now who call themselves the millennials, right? This generation right now is the first generation that's actually going backwards. We were progressing, but now we're going backwards. And as Dr. John Heinrich Clarke said, and many of our scholars said before, if we don't come into our African consciousness right now, I'm talking about right now, here, now, today, there's a great possibility that we can find ourselves back as an enslaved people. That right wing right now, Malcolm said, for the brothers and sisters out there that says, I don't vote, it ain't important to vote, that's the most important, that's the most powerful tool that you have, is that ballot. And Malcolm said it's either the ballot or the bullet, right? But if we don't vote for brothers and sisters or persons racially classified as white, Latino, I don't care what it is, you get what I'm saying, who have a black thought, that far right now is doing everything in their power to remove our right to vote as a human being. We talk about it and everybody said, no, we ain't gonna, no, yes, you can use your right to vote. And it's people moving towards that right now. What they were trying to do in Georgia by blocking people from voting there. Remember when they was talking about you couldn't bring nobody no water? Yeah, that's crazy. But if you look at what's happening in Michigan, if those states like Texas, Alabama, and Georgia will follow the Michigan plan, them folks right there will lose their right to vote right now. I know. If y'all hear some music or something, some noise, if you hear a noise, what that is they're having church across the hall and everything, and
in the hall too.
In the hall and everything, and you know, but they can hear us through these microphones. You get what I'm saying? The directional microphones out there in YouTube, they might pick it up a little bit more than us, but we're gonna fight through the noise. Oh, no doubt. You're gonna fight through the noise. We're gonna fight through it, and I'm not calling it noise because I'm not insulting on their practices. You get what I mean? But speaking of practices, man, this is just me here. They just happen to be sitting in our conversation. In the 9 major areas of human activity: education, entertainment, I'm trying to remember them all, right? Entertainment, education, religion, labor, law, politics, science, war, and there's another education, entertainment, right? Education, economics, and religion. Of the 9 major areas of human activity, there's only one human activity that has stayed the same, been constant, since the time that we first interacted with the European. You know what that's stayed the same? Religion. And people argue with me when I say about Christianity. Man, Christianity in Africa. You're correct. It was. But what you're practicing is a European Christianity. And that's what you are. And you're practicing that European Christianity. They argue with me, but because they haven't went back and studied Kemetic sciences, they haven't taken the ability to read the Metu Neter, what the European has taught them to call hieroglyphics. And they don't understand that. And so they still practice a European form of Christianity. People ask me all the time, say, look, brother, how can you say that you are a Christian when you know these things? It's because I understand that Christianity, Judaism, Islam is mere peripherals of the African spiritual system. They spent hidden Buddhism, all of them, when they get them in there. But if they ever knew what they possessed in these churches, in particularly in the Baptist church, all the sacraments of the temple are right there on display, but they don't have a clue. And I'm serious. They don't have a clue what they're looking at and what they got. And within these churches, seriously, and in the mosque, is freedom if they would go back and connect themselves back further upstream to the actual source.
Well, we do that in a lot of stuff that we do. Mm-hmm. We do that in politics. Mm-hmm. We'll see stuff on the surface. It's no different than, I don't care what people do, but it's no different than saying, okay, I'm a Democrat and I'm going to do certain things as a Democrat, but when you don't dig deep, when you don't get to the source, when you don't find out why someone, somebody's politics or what have you, then I mean you're going to be supportive of something that might be detrimental to you.
Yes.
So whether it's religion or politics or whatever, anything that you do that you don't get to, the source of it, you'll never know what you're supporting. Perfect example. Like, do you like the Detroit Tigers?
I like, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, go ahead. I had to think about it.
This is an example. Mm-hmm. Say you like the Detroit Tigers, okay, and you go to a Tigers game. The Tigers, you say, hey, I like the Tigers. I love the Tigers. the Tigers want me to donate $2 to this cause that they have. I forgot what they call it, but it's kind of one of those deceiving titles or what have you. And then, it's like you find out that you've just donated to, and this is what the Tigers are actually doing. And listen, this is no indictment on anybody. You feel how you want to feel. You do what you want to do. You believe what you want to believe. But the donation that the Tigers are doing right now goes towards gender reassignment surgery for minors.
Wait a minute. I'm familiar with all things you just said, but the connection there.
Yeah. So if you don't,
a gender reassignment
surgery for minors. For minors.
Yeah.
But you may just say, I like the Tigers and I support the Tigers, and here's money that I'm donating. But if you are not, say you're one of those people that says, I don't agree with transgenders, or I don't agree with anything with LGBTQ or whatever. Say that's just, because some people feel that way.
Right.
And if you're not supportive, say you're not supportive of transgenders or whatever, but yet you don't know that you are donating to that.
Right.
It's like, and it just goes back to what we're talking about, just to bring it back. It's like, if you don't know what you're supporting, who you're supporting, then what you're going to do is you're going to continue that practice. And again, let's bring it to politics. I ask people all the time, how can you vote for the lesser of two evils? And when they say that, I say, well, let me ask you a question. Don't tell me about the other candidate. Tell me the evils of your candidate.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So if you say I'm voting for the lesser of two evils, don't tell me about the other candidate. Tell me about your candidate that you're consciously voting for that you know is an evil. What are the things, the ideologies, the practices, the things that your candidate does that you know are evil? So if we don't take the time to understand what we call ourselves supporting, we're always going to be in that situation. And a lot of times it's to our detriment. So
yeah, and you're 100% correct, bro. And I didn't know that whatsoever. And we're very unconscious that one of the things that I hear people like case in point, there was never a constitutional amendment for the income tax. There was never a 2/3 state vote to have the Internal Revenue Service. It just did it in the creation of the Federal Reserve. So I hear a lot of people, man, who try to say, I don't pay taxes and avoid the taxes, and they don't. But however, you do pay taxes in America. I don't care if you're a 501c3 whatever, right? You pay taxes. Try to get on an airplane. There's tax when you buy that ticket. It's already in there, and you're gonna pay that. You get what I'm saying? Ain't nothing on that gas tax. So you look at the taxes that's attached to the gasoline. So you're gonna pay taxes, but you aren't aware. Like I'm just saying is that you're not aware of these things that you're doing and the things that you are supportive of. You get what I mean? When you do these things, same thing when I go to the store and people say, "Hey, would you like to leave your change for this?" No, because I don't support that. So we think we may be given to a good charity and do a good cause. Yeah. Until you see these things of what these things actually are.
Yeah. I mean, a person can support whatever they want for whatever reason. Like I just don't like when we go out and people vote and they say I'm voting for this candidate, and it's like, well, do you know how this candidate feels about this situation?
Right.
And it's like, if you don't, stop giving away your vote.
Right.
Like if voting is our power, if voting is our tool, if voting is our way, like Malcolm said, the battle of the bullet, I spoke about earlier, then we have to make sure that we're using it the right way. And right now, to be honest with you, sometimes I feel like, man, I could absolutely care less about who's the president of the United States of America. What's more important to me, I'm not saying that's not important.
I know what you
what's
mean. Yeah.
More important to me is, who are our politicians here? Who are our politicians in Ypsilanti?
Right.
Who are the people that want to be policymakers or changes, or they can, certain money can be acclimated to something else, or this program here that our kids can literally feel it, that they can reap the benefits of it. But if our attitude is, I'm just going to vote Democratic, when it comes, every 4 years, that's doing nothing for our community.
Absolutely nothing.
Right. So we have to get involved with the local politics around here. Know who your candidates are. Know who you're supporting. I mean, I had that situation with the young lady that's running, I think it's District 3 or what have you. Her ideology We don't even know it, but people are still going to sit up here and probably vote for this person.
Right.
And it's like, do you realize what she's saying? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know, and it's like, no, that's not a person that we should be supporting. You know, so it's like, at least who you're going to support, know why you're going to support them. Stop doing stuff on the surface, and make sure they have some substance, you know, about them. If not, you are indeed giving your vote away.
Exactly. And that's where I'm at right now. Like I said, local politics. It begins on the school board, at the city council level, at the township trustee boards, county commissioners, right? And we vote for people on popularity. Seriously. Oh, I know him. They was at my church the other day. You know what I mean? They was at my church. I seen them at the picnic. I seen them here. I seen them everywhere. But I want you to know, what have they done for you? That's what I don't care that they, and like, it's a couple candidates that I support, and they say we don't never see them. I said, what you mean they don't see them? Do you go down to city council meeting? Do you go to county board of commissioners? Do you go to your township hall? No. I said, that's where they at. That's where they at. Look and see what they're voting on. You're confused with seeing people running around here at every event. Every time somebody dies, they up there in the pulpit. Get what I mean? Every time somebody important, every time somebody have an event, they're there. Every time somebody got a backyard barbecue, there. Every time somebody have a bar mitzvah, they're there. Every time anything, they're there. I'm here. And so we get confused with the popularity.
Think they're there for us.
Think they're there for us. No, they ain't. You fooled by that. All you got to do is read the policies. And that's some things that we have to do. But that's a responsibility that you and I, brother, you know, sometimes real conversation, and I've said this, man. Sometimes I feel like just go ahead and just turning this off. Quit every board that I'm on. Stop volunteering at Park Ridge Community Center. Stop cleaning up the park. Stop doing this and being a licensed electrical contractor. Just go out and do some electrical work, man, and get paid and just throw it all in.
Yeah.
But my consciousness, my black thought won't allow me to do that.
Yeah.
But as brothers, you and I, man, you get what I'm saying. And, you know, I'm having to turn you on if you haven't seen that. Heavy, you know, heavy is the head that wears the crown. I forget how it goes, but anyway, it's a new video out. You got to see this one, man. It's heavy, right? Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and it's persons, and I can say this, who are dependent on you and persons like us to do the work that we've been doing. It don't seem like a lot, you know, may not seem like a lot to the people who don't know us, but I know you get those inboxes and those texts and those phone calls like I get them too. When we think that we feel like throwing it all in, I always get a call from a sister or brother, man. I didn't even know they was out there looking at us, man, and everything like that. That's real talk.
Yeah, it's all good though.
Yeah. And I don't say that as wearing, trying to puff myself up, but if not you, who?
Not true that, yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's not you, who. But you know, I got this right here. We're gonna get out of here. We've been chopping up for a minute. We just took this Sunday. I ain't seen Grip in a few months. This is what we do. Brother Bryan out there. We're gonna bring him around. But check this out. Johnny sent this to me, right? Let me see if I got this right here. Fans of smooth jazz genre are in for a treat with the soon-to-be-released single Leather Jacket. The song, which is a collaboration between guitarist and Ypsilanti native John E. Lawrence and Grammy Award-winning artist and one of the architects of the smooth jazz genre, Jeff Lover. The official release date is slated for January 5th, coinciding with the opening week of the John E. Lawrence Summer Jazz Series, which is down at Ford Lake Park in the Ypsilanti Township off of Huron River Drive.
Hey, let me say this, because you brought it up earlier.
Yeah, go ahead.
Talking about Rick Star Financial.
Yeah, talk about your brother. I mean, look, when let me say this. Hold your part right there.
Yeah.
I didn't know, because you told me that you thought that I was going to be July 5th, Eric Brown. When I found out, and then I called you up, I said, man, how come you ain't tell me? You told me, I thought you thought I was in the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the meeting that I missed. Okay, because I was doing something else. But when I found out Friday, man, you know I welled up in tears, man. I mean, real conversation, man.
Yeah.
To know that Rick Star Financial, Richard Griffin, had stood up and contributed to something, man. And I'm gonna say this again, get by Max, I'm getting choked up. Thousands. Thousands. Go ahead.
The thing about Rick, obviously I know this and the siblings know this.
Right.
The thing that, why we're so proud of him is because, the way he came up was when he first started, he was with this group, Chatfield Eating Company in Denver, came here, he was with Merrill Lynch, and Rick was always on the grind, always doing his thing. And I remember we had conversations about when he was at Merrill Lynch, they wanted to start a division for sports. And so he gave him opportunities. We grew up in an athletic family, first family. So he thought it was kind of crazy that nobody in his office wanted to be a head of that sports program. And with Merrill Lynch, so they would send him to the NFL Combine. It would, rent him out a room, and he would talk to the pro players. And he was just like, man, I'm talking to all these people. I'm making all these connections. I'm exchanging phone numbers. And I guess it just kind of hit him that, he went down there making business relationships with these young brothers, but he ended up making personal relationships. You see what I'm saying? And so you can make all the money in the world that you want, but if you're not building personal relationships with people and you just see people a certain way, then you're not going to be able to say, because this is what he did. He threw everything out the window and he said, I'm going to bet on myself. Now, you have to understand, when he decided to get into this business for himself, he said, I'm competing against Merrill Lynch. I'm competing against, the Rock.
Gold Sackman.
You said gold, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so to watch my brother used to call me for a couple dollars sometimes. You know what I'm saying? To watch my brother go from working and grinding for somebody else to now he's to a point to where, and see the reason why this Johnny Lawrence thing is so is important. What y'all gotta understand is my brother just ain't gonna give his money away.
Okay. Go ahead.
So if he decides to put his money behind something, you better believe that it's something that's near and dear to him. It's something that he truly believes in.
Right.
It's something that he like, of course, when it comes to kids, youth programs, the schools, our friends who he see is like, this guy is real.
Right.
I don't mind giving these guys some money for sports. So to watch him grow from literally grinding for somebody else to putting his high school nickname on something in this business world, this business, sector, and him killing the game the way he is.
Yeah, he is.
So I don't know if you guys realize, Rick gave us some money, but this dude is giving himself to anything that he put Rick Star Financial on. And I'm just proud of him because of all the philanthropic things that he's doing.
Right.
Like he's a, and everybody don't always, hey, I'm on Facebook, I'm giving this away.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't think,
and that's why they put them all out there.
Yeah, I don't think that he's ever put anything up in terms of what he do for kids. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It'd have to be coaches, or it'd have to be the kids, or it'd have to be somebody else that said Rick Star did this for us. So for him to put his name on it and be so much behind it, it's like, it's just dope. And we're just so proud of him, man, that, and again, Rick is not just gonna give his money away, but if Rick is putting name behind something, trust me, he believes in it.
Yeah.
And it's solid.
Yeah, and he reached out to us.
Yeah.
We didn't go, hey, Rick,
Yeah.
real talk.
Yeah.
And when Johnny told me, like I said, I was sitting at the meeting Friday, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, I got this new cut. You get what I'm saying? And it's called Leather Jacket, right? And I got it exclusively right here. I'm gonna hit a little taste of it. And I want y'all, if y'all still out there, there's 7 folks out there. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of this, and I want y'all to tell me what y'all think of this, right? This is Leather Jacket by John E. Lawrence featuring Jeff Lorber. That's all y'all get. I ain't get. If y'all want to hear the whole song, it's gonna be played on WDZJ. We hooked up Griff with the same people that used to be WJZZ, and I believe it's on there right there. I want to get a radio right now. We're gonna be out here with it's WDZJ, right? WJZZ. These are the same folks, man. And they hooked up with us, they reached out to us. So every hour on the hour, that radio program that I played at the beginning, that's gonna be played again, right? On every hour on the hour on that radio program right there. I wanna make sure I'm saying this stuff right, you see what I'm saying? And I'm gonna get a little better at my information and stuff like that. But it's man, it's gonna be really nice. I wish I could find it where I had it at, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look over here, see if I got it, because I want to say the call letters properly.
The only thing I didn't like about the jazz festival last year,
Okay.
The only thing I didn't like, it was too short.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, you get there, you sitting there, you chilling, you put your tent up, you got your, some people have, their drinks,
right,
their cigars. Man, about time, it's like it's over already. You know what I'm saying? Like it's over already, man. It was just the music. It was this what I described people. I said it was grown. You know what I'm saying? It was grown. It was good music. We had the food out there. We chilling. You seeing people. I said it ended too fast. I would love for it to go at the very least another hour. I know that's a contractual thing, but it was so good, man. It was so good every single week, that I was, there. It just always seemed like it was too short.
But dig this here, man. Dig this here. I took what you said and I went to Johnny. I said, man, Ryan said it was too short. So this is what we did for you, good brother. How about we gonna start at 6 o'clock? And we got the DJ from WJZC radio station. We're gonna start at 6 o'clock and end at 9. Now you got 3 hours. Is that good?
I'm good.
Okay, you good? So we're gonna do so instead of going from 7 to 9, we're gonna be going from 6 to 9. You didn't know that, did you?
Saturday nights, right?
Friday? No. Friday night.
Friday nights. Okay.
Yeah. And I suggest anybody pay attention because there is another jazz festival that they anyway. And unfortunately, through miscommunication, some people that were contributed to the Johnny Lawrence Jazz Concert Series didn't realize that wasn't the same. Gotcha. And they contribute some fundings to that.
Gotcha.
Right. So no, John E. Lawrence Jazz Concert Series will be held Fridays from 6 to 9 at Ford Lake Park, what we used to call Gyro Park. That's where the boat launch is. And I was out there Friday because, like I said, I was one of the last holdouts on the team that really wanted to stay, really wanted to stay down Riverside Park.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I went there on, because when we first went and scoped it out, snow was on the ground and I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
When I went out there Friday, it's gonna be beautiful, y'all. I know a lot of people ask about parking. Plenty of place to park. Plenty of place to park. And you talking about the beautiful scenery? You can sit right there off the river.
Yeah.
Now, off the lake. I'm sorry. Before we were sitting off the river.
Yeah.
Now you off the lake.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nice.
It's gonna be nice.
Yep, that begins January 1st. But with that, good brother, I'm gonna let you have the final words. I'm gonna find some music to play when we get up on out of here. But I'm gonna let you have the final words before I find something to get out of here.
Oh, no, my only final word, man, is spread the word to just be more informed of the people who we are soon to be voting for. I know we just had a debate between Ronnie Peterson and Justin Hodge, I believe. I think that was Saturday. Yes.
Yeah, Ronnie didn't show up.
Really?
No, he didn't show up.
Okay. Yeah. So just who's ever in these races, these local races, just find out who's about, because these are going to be decision makers. These are going to be our representatives. These are going to be the people that so-called speak for us. Let's just get involved and just find out who they are. And and like Brother Foley said, sometimes we got to go to them and stop being content and being afraid to ask what you want to know and how things are going to work. Just it's just we just let's get involved. Let's just move forward.
Yeah.
And I appreciate being here. Always love being here. Chopping it up with you, my man. I just really just appreciate just being in your presence, man. Just coming, just chopping it up.
Well, as you called me up before, it's because I'm always calling you. This table is open for you anytime. It's not open for everybody anytime. You get what I mean? Because and that's I want our viewers to have something of substance and something that we're giving them. You get what I mean? That's why my show is where it is. You get what I mean? And I got a long list of elected officials and candidates running for office that want to come on this appearance. But then I got a short list of folks who would not dare sit in that seat. I'm telling you straight up and down. And they avoided the phone call conversation. I'm telling you, won't sit in this seat because I got some questions to ask. You get what I'm saying? But I want to get with you, bro, because I know you're heavily involved with your son, MJ, in football. And I want to talk about the science of athletics.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that our smartest individuals, our most intelligent brothers and sisters are on the basketball court and on the football field. And I want to talk about the physics, the dynamics, the trigonometry, the geometry, the algebraic expressions that's required to play football in this mind. It's much more than just throwing a ball and running fast. And I want to get on that. I want to talk about the science of athletics and how our truest warriors are the ones that's bouncing that ball, catching and running that ball and doing it. And I want to talk about that on athletics and stuff like that. Okay. We're gonna get that. With that being said, ear to the ground next week. I got Kalista coming on next week.
Okay.
I don't know if Kalista coming on or not, but it's 3 young ladies that work up at the school who she introduced me to. Okay. And they're gonna be on the show next week. And then I got a guy by the name of Dave Sprinsky. Dave Sprinsky, the solar panels that's out here on his roof, he has a company called Ipsy Solar. And we're going to talk about how our community can get solar panels free on your houses and your building establishment. Yep, exactly. He's going to come on here. So that's next week on Ear to the Ground 197. And Ear to the Ground 197 until next week at 11 o'clock. We're out of here. And as always, I say, all power to the people.